Hey guys, what's up? It's Umbruhh here, and today I'm going to be talking about Final Fantasy XIV storyline, specifically a character in this storyline. So, before we start in this video, I just want to say that this video has spoilers for Final Fantasy XIV Stormblood and the recent patches 4.1, The Legend Returns. So, if you aren't caught up on that and you don't want to be spoiled, I'd recommend clicking away from this video. And now that I've given you some chances, let's go into this video. So, there's been one particular character that I've been focused on, there's been more, but there's one character that interests me, throughout MSQ of Final Fantasy XIV Stormblood, and that is Fordola rem Lupis, who is one of the secondary antagonists of the MSQ, along with Yotsuyu. Now, we get to see more of Fordola's backstory in 4.1. So basically, who Fordola is she is a major antagonist in the Ala Mhigo storyline in Stormblood, and who she is she's a high-ranking commander officer in the Garlean Empire, specifically the leader of the Skulls, which is an Ala Mhigan-born Garlean squadron, or I guess a gang made up of Ala Mhigan's children who are fighting for the Garlean Empire, and Fordola is the leader of them. And in MSQ, the new patches, we see Fordola as a child with her parents who are going to the Imperial banquet to go see Gaius von Balsier, I believe at the time, or whoever the Imperial Viceroy was for Doma at the time. And on their way there, they see an Ala Mhigan who insults Fordola and her family, and this causes Fordola to get sad. She's a child at the time, so again, children get sad when you insult them and their parents. Anyone usually does. And so she runs away from her parents and the guy until she winds up in a crowd and people begin throwing stones at her, until her father comes to her rescue and shields her from the stones, until one of the stones hit Fordola's father in the head and kills him. And so this causes Fordola to become kind of vengeful against these Ala Mhigans that want to destroy the Imperials, because she genuinely believes that the Imperials are good people, and one of the last things her father told her before she died is that this is the only way that the Garleans will see them as people, is if they basically become bootlickers to the Garleans until they see them as citizens. And so Fordola sought revenge against the people who killed her father and want to destroy everything the Garleans are, what she believes the Garleans are trying to achieve for her. She did this mostly out of vengeance, and she believed she was honoring her father this way. So the next flashback we see is her as a teen creating a group with 3 other Garlean youth, or Ala Mhigan youth, and she is naming the group the Skulls, which we see a lot through Stormblood's story. And so after this MSQ, and in Stormblood's MSQ in general, I can sympathize and understand why Fordola does what she does. I don't think she's an evil person. I think she's very brutal and ruthless to achieve what she wants. She yearns for what she believes her and her people's freedom by fighting for the Garleans until they see them as people and no longer treat them as slaves, and no longer oppresses the Ala Mhigan people. So I can kind of sympathize with her, but she is pretty ruthless to the point where she'd even kill her own men, even the people she started the Skulls with. But she did this mostly out of fear for what Xenos would do to her if she disobeyed her orders. As we can see in the cutscene where she fires a cannon at her own people, she didn't want to do this. She was just willing to do whatever was necessary in order to win the battle and please Xenos. So, Fordola is a tricky character, and in general, she's just a person who is living and grew up in the shitty situation that Ala Mhigo was in, occupied by the Garlean Empire and, like, forced to either fight for what you believe is right and die. Many joined the resistance to fight for a brighter future for Umbruhh, but Fordola decided to make the best of a shitty situation she was given and tried to suck up to the Garleans so that they would see her as a person, and hopefully one day that they would earn their freedom with blood. And so, it's kind of hard to... It's a very tricky situation to understand. Because on one side we have Lise, who grew up in Ala Mhigo kind of like Fordola, but she chose to fight against the people who oppressed her and her people, while Fordola decided to side with her oppressors, kind of as a way to, like, stop the oppression? So, in the end, Fordola is just trying to make the best of a shitty situation, but she has done some pretty questionable things, and I don't think people will ever forgive her for what she's done. She was last seen going back to her cell after defeating Lakshmi, after one of the Ananta tribes tried to summon Lakshmi and enthrall everyone. And so we can see Fordola really does regret her actions, but after Xenos was killed and the Imperial forces were driven out of Umbruhh, we saw that when Ala Mhigo was under threat of Lakshmi killing everyone, when Lise approached her to ask her, will she fight or will she be locked up forever? And she chose to pick up her sword and fight for Ala Mhigo. So she does want the best for her and her people, but again, she's willing to do some pretty messed up things in order to achieve it. But now that the Garleans are gone, I don't know if she will fight against her people and cause them harm and suffering as the Skulls once did, because they've got no reason to. The Garleans are gone. So it'll be interesting to see how this will play out in future patch quests, like what will happen to Fordola. I'm pretty interested to see. And we also see her stories similar in a way to Yotsuyu, but she isn't as much as a genocidal psychopath as Yotsuyu is. But anyways, that's all I have to talk about. In conclusion, I can kind of sympathize with Fordola, but in the sense where, like, I don't know if I would do the same thing. I might have. Just, it's like a situation of survival. But anyways, guys, that's all for today. I hope you all have an amazing time. If you like this video and you'd like to see more character analysis, I don't know if I said that right. Comment down below, subscribe. I make other Final Fantasy XIV content, and I hope I see you guys later. I love you all. Umbruhh out.